A certain someone everybody hates came off the ban list, so we remade Fire Fist.
YuGiBOOM!
What up, y'all? It's Joe again. We got a lot of comments to update our Fire Fist deck profile. I just always love messing around with Fire Fist, but it took a while for me to think of something different after the last profile I did with when Panda and them all first came out. I've done a lot of editing and testing through the ratios, and obviously, if you can tell by the intro, I did cop out and go with, you know, what Fire Fist always mixed well with in the first place in some Zeus. So without further ado, I'll get back into it. Just like last time, my monster ratios are a little bit weird and wonky, so don't slaughter me in the comments too much. But for now, these choices have been working out for me, and I'm still going to be testing throughout time to see what changes. But to start off with our Fire Fist monsters, we are still running 3 Fire Fist Dragon. So the thing about Dragon is he's going to be, especially because of your Link monster, because of Eagle, he's going to be one of the main monsters now that actually gets a lot of your combos going. Back in the day, in the beginning of Fire Fist, he was more of a niche extender when you actually were like super late game and had a lot of resources, like having to dump all those fire formations away. But now he's just summoning usually copies of himself at the graveyard, and then that copy will summon another Fire Fist and so on, and you just keep going off. Then we are running 2 Panda. So I had dropped Panda and Elephant down to 1 before. And as much as I hated them at 3 because sometimes they just didn't open with the right stuff, as good as they are, they became bricky. But I had switched Panda and then back up to 2 because I do want to see it a little bit more often, as contradictory as that sounds. But Panda just proved to be a little bit too, needed for some plays, and he's just a nice card at 2. And then, as I mentioned, I also have 2 Elephant. So Elephant, same thing. He kind of needs to open with the right other cards with him, and he doesn't really facilitate some of the combos that you follow with Zodiac plays afterwards, especially when he's going to be your only normal summon after with your Tensu or something like that. So I still like Elephant at 2 just to get some niche extension plays, and he is one of your only ways to search out your Eland. So, but we'll get to that guy a little bit later in the deck profile. To round off the level 4s, and this one hurts because I kind of wish I could run him at more than 1. I do have 1 Fire Fist Bear. So Bear is also a little bit important because he can pop your Tiger King, but Trident kind of helps us do that a little bit more if we do want to pop our Trident on our Tiger King on our own. But Bear is also really nice for the fact that if he does damage, you set a fire formation spell and he still can pop a card. But I've only been able to find space for 1 of him at the moment, but in further testing he might go up to more than 1. And then the last level 4 is Buffalo. As good as Buffalo is, I don't really see a need for him to be at more than 1. He's so recyclable if you have your Eagle, and he will pretty much just keep bringing himself back at every turn. And you just need him for quick exceed plays or maybe a Link or something. But he's nice because you could also dump him if not a Bear or another Dragon with your Eagle. And so now we get onto our level 3s. This is where the deck has probably changed the most for me throughout the years, but I've just learned that the synchros I used to go into back in the day, like Vulcan and stuff, they just were not coming up as necessary plays anymore, and popping through and going through hella roosters wasn't really necessary no more. As much as I miss the playstyle, the 3.5 axis is kind of dead now. You don't really need to run that many level 3s. You definitely can, but for the level 3s, now the only really important one has become Raven. Raven has to be ran at 3. He's going to be a lot of your best opening plays to normal him and just go straight into an Almirage and set a Tensu to get another normal depending on what you have. Especially with Panda, opening him in Panda is usually one of your best plays. Just keep in mind that if you do go for your Panda combos, you can't do any Zodiac stuff after, so you would want to do Zodiac stuff first somehow. Sorry about that. And then go into your Fire Fist plays, but he is not once per turn, so he's just going to constantly get your spells out from the deck, whether it be your field spell, your fusion, your ritual, whatever you need. Then just a bunch of 1-ups for 3s to round them off. The 1 Leopard, the 1 Rooster, and the 1 Spirit. God, I miss the days of these 2 both being 3-ofs and mandatories, but I just don't need to go into them that much no more. They're not nearly as powerful as going into the Exceeds, the level rank 4 Exceeds, and so on, just the way the deck has evolved. So I still like them because they're still very good cards, and yes, if you pull them off and you can set them up. That's why I still run them at 1 each. You may be wondering why not just cut them entirely, because if you get a rooster in, a spirit in hand, you could dump a rooster many ways or get a rooster out. And leopard can also he's a little bit slower version of raven essentially, so it's just nice to still have these options, especially because we still do run the lion emperor. But that's gonna be it for your level 3s. The only Fire Fist out of this whole deck that I've been considered cutting, as wild as this sounds to say, is the Eland. He's a monster negate, but I just never really need to go into him. I find myself searching other stuff that's better than him half the time. Like, I could set up with a more aggressive board and attack more than I need to really set him up. And one thing I failed to mention in the beginning is I did build this deck to be more of a going second variant, so keep that in mind. This deck is more meant to go second, gain some hand presence, and try to go off. But it's nice that you can, even sometimes with just Trident and the right exceed pairing him, you can go first and sit on that. But Eland has been in question for me for a while. In some more testing, if he doesn't turn out to be very useful and coming out a lot, I know there's the typical combos you can do to always get him out, but I don't want to always have to do that. I like to splash into my extra deck a lot. So Eland, he's good, play him if you will. I won't definitely not say he's a bad card. The last of our monsters is our zoo package is actually pretty small. I was thinking of running more zoos because of barrage being hit to 1, but honestly, it works with even just this little count. I just run 2 Thoroughblade, 1 Whiptail, and 1 Ranram. And I run the 1 Ranram because he has 2k booty, and if you need to just set him and have a Trident with 2k defense, it's better than having a Trident with very, very weak 0 or very weak defense, So, and then same thing, as hard as it is to do now, because you only have 1 barrage, if you open barrage and any Zoodiac, you can barrage for a Thoroughblade, discard that zoo that's in the grave, and then draw 1, and then you can start going on summoning your Zodiac monsters from there, and then eventually end with a Trident when you're satisfied with your play. But besides that, they're still level 4 Beast Warriors, so they're still usable for a lot of your other things, and your Thoroughblade can still get pumped by some of your generic fire formations, because it just gives your Beast Warriors 100 attack each. So just a small zoo package. It might increase depending on how the ban list plays out, or if we ever get Invoker back, which I highly doubt. And then the level 3s will become more prevalent again, but we'll see. And then the last monster that's not really a monster is we run 2 Ash, just because it's Ash. She's got a big forehead. Sometimes you just gotta headbutt the competition. This could really be any hand trap you want. Throw some DD Crows. Probably not Ghost Ogre really so much in this deck though, but you could even run Effect Failures if you wanted to, or in 2 Impermanence. And for our spells, which is definitely the bread and butter of this whole deck, of course, this deck would be nothing, and the main thing your opponent's probably going to Ash is going to be your Tenki. 3 Tenkis, of course, going to search everything besides Panda and Eland pretty much in your deck, and obviously not your Ash. But you can get any of your level 4 lower Beast Warriors to give your Beast Warriors 100 attack, and this is obviously just an extra copy of almost anything we run. And that's another reason why the level 3s are at 1, if you need any more explanation on that. 3 Tensu, because it's an extra normal summon for a Beast Warrior, and this is going to enable you to extend a lot. A lot of the times you can get some monsters on board and have only used 1 normal summon, and then that additional one comes in to just make that play go off even further. And plus, we need to have as many fire formations as we can. Since it's a going second variant, I do main the Yugioh. This has been in almost all my profiles. I just think it's such a good card, especially with things like Super Poly running around. If they have that mysterious set, well, they can't activate the set card in response to this either. So if this is in your hand, they can't do anything about it. Now, if you set this from the deck, it could also bait something, because they know if they want to get it off that, and you set this from the deck, that they gotta activate a card, or they risk it getting locked down. And then it kind of is nicer than popping things, because nowadays destroying some spell and traps could be just as bad as leaving them on the field. So that's my reasoning for that. Then my next controversial play in this deck is with the Eland. And I know even if you don't run Elin, some people still run these at more than one. But for the fusion and ritual cards, I only run one of each because I figure you can recycle the fire formations if you really need to. And since this is a going second deck, I don't really want to even have to do that. I want to get my play flood with Fire Fist monsters, shuffle in what's annoying with Cardinal from my opponent, and then go for an attack, you know? But you still can get their effects off nicely, either returning stuff to your hand or getting a little monster born for a Fire Fist monster if you happen to actually remove these for any purposes, because you can still send things for cost even though you have Eagle on board. And then I play one Fire Fortress atop Liang Peak. I believe in my last profile I opted not to run this anymore, and I quickly regretted it just because it just does a little bit extra random. Even when it only has its minimal amount of counter for its effects, it's still nice. And when you can actually go off hard or you open this with a decent hand, then you get a lot, and it's amazing. I still don't run the Heraclinos or any of the niche things like that. I'm just not that brave or confident in myself. But that is still an option for you guys to do if you are going to go off and you get 10 counters on this, because you can special summon any Beast Warrior from your extra deck ignoring its summoning conditions, and its effect's not negated or anything, so just keep that in mind. But I still just play the one because it's an extra name, it's an extra fire formation, and they're all still very good. Plus we still do play one of the fusion, and as you've seen, we play one Elin still. For our generic spells, we definitely play 3 Called by the Grave. Just because, even though we're going second, you know, you want to go off, and if you get ashed on your Tenkies, sometimes that could be it, you know, like, not always. This deck still has a lot of options, but the right ash and the right stop of things can really hurt you, or even them just stopping one of your monsters. So 3 Called by is kind of mandatory in my opinion. Because we're going second, don't like this at any more, but it's still a good card and I can't play without it. I do run one Onslaught of the Fire Kings. If you're ever forced to go first and you open this, obviously it's bad, but going second and being able to pop this straight for any random level 3 like that Rooster maybe, or even the Raven, and then normaling an additional Raven, you know, it could just start some really nice plays for you. And even if so, late game, you can even just bust out a level 4 Fire Fist, normal another level 4, and you can exceed very easy. The next spell breaks my heart to say, but the one and only Zodiac Barrage that we're allowed. I'm not disillusioned though. I understand why this had to go to 1, because we can't have our cake and eat it too, so let's be real here. But Barrage still at 1, have to run it. Going second, so we are running Raigeki, and running Monster Reborn, mainly just because extender, board wipe, you know, gotta have it. And because we're going second, I only run 2 traps. I just run 1 Shinto and 1 Tenzin, mainly because these are settable and in multiple ways in your deck, and they're both power heavy hitters. This is a negate in case you do need to buy yourself an extra turn and stop something that's annoying, or you're forced to go first. And Tenzin pretty much helps you get over anything that can still be destroyed by battle by just boosting your attack a lot. And after its effect is done, it's still giving all your other Beast Warriors 300 attack, which is by no means a small amount. Moving on to our extra deck, we start with the man who's on the mat below us. 1 Tiger King to start our exceeds. Sorry, ultis always look like crap on camera. But 1 Tiger King because I really want to put him at more than 1 actually, now that I'm about to explain the reason why he's necessary in the deck, besides him just being a Fire Fist. But in testing right now, I kind of have no room, and I'm already squeezing my extra deck for everything I have, so we'll see. But Tiger King is great for a number of reasons, because he can make all the monsters on your opponent's side of the field, or all monsters in the field that aren't Beast Warriors, effects negated for 2 turns, and that helps you get over a lot of problematic monsters that can't be destroyed and stuff, because they just lose their effect. As long as they aren't affected, period, like if they just have cannot be targeted effects, then he can make them all neutral. Then you can just pop it with a bear or do simple things like that. Plus, on top of that, since we don't have to send fire formations for cost for a Fire Fist monster effects when we have Eagle, you can get rid of him, or if he gets popped, he summons 2 Fire Fist from the deck with the same attack and defense, I believe. With just the same attack, but ideally you would get 2 dragon and special summon a bunch of crap out of the graveyard. So that's one of the main plays you can keep in mind. Our next level, rank 4, is also really, really good, but I don't want to put him at 2 either. Cardinal's going to shuffle 2 of your Fire Fist and or Fire Formations from field and or graveyard, and 2 of their cards from their field and or graveyard. So you can just put Mizuki's back in the deck from the grave, or put 2 annoying monsters that can't be destroyed from the field back in the deck, and all while recycling your Fire Formations in Fire Fist. So Cardinal's just really, always really good. I still have my first dead from Tachyon Galaxy that I pulled so many years ago. And yeah, he's just, look at him, he's so powerful in his robe, looking like a Dynasty Warriors character. Then we have, of course, Abyss Dweller, because Abyss Dweller, he definitely just shuts down a lot of the decks in the meta right now. Like, you know, a lot of things touch the graveyard. A lot of things want to summon and do a bunch of crap from the graveyard, so Abyss Dweller is mandatory. For our other random Fire Fist, we do run Lion Emperor. He's our only rank 3 exceed. I mentioned earlier we don't have Invoker or really any, I don't really see the need to run any other rank 3s. Lion Emperor just seems to be the only viable choice. He's also not really something I go into very often anymore, but he is a recycler and he gets any of your fire monsters back from your graveyard or hand. He used to be my main source of getting Wolfbark back, but things have changed so drastically we don't even play Wolfbark anymore, which also sucks, because who doesn't like a wolf in goggles? For our Zodiac monsters, 1 Tiger Mortar, 1 Borbo, 1 Chakanine, and of course, everybody hates Chris, Dryden. Dryden is just definitely annoying. Even at 1, I've learned, like, I watched, shout out, he doesn't know us, but shout out MBT, you know, I seen his video on this, and he was proved that Zoo can still be annoying even at 1 and without Broad Bull, so, like, I've learned that in just testing a couple duels with my friends. The fact that he's literally just 1 Zoodiac away from just a constant pop, literally, and even if you can't go off on the full Zoodiac play and keep like summoning them back for multiple purposes, even just making a Trident with that much material, like being able to pop that consistently, it's pretty busted, and I don't expect him to stay around long, so play him while you can. And you know, I'm not going to go over the Zodiac effects too much. You guys probably know them from that by now, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. But Chakanine will get 1 back from the graveyard. Borbo can attack directly, and Tiger Mortar can put Exceed material on another Exceed of yours. And now, to round it off, our Lynx, Fusion, and Synchro, we are going to run 1 Almirage, because Almirage is 100% necessary. The fact that you're going to open with a lot of normal summons of Raven, and you can just quickly go into Almirage, summon a bunch of other stuff, tribute Almirage if you have to protect stuff, and Almirage is just really good for other purposes of protecting as well. So 1 Almirage. The other, probably the only card in the extra deck I'm still considering cutting, but then it still randomly comes in handy, is the Fire Fist Peacock. I've said this before, she's kind of like our Borreload Dragon. If a zone is free and you know you have all your fire formations and stuff, she can take something and put it there. But she's just not that great, and it's a little bit awkward to go into her sometimes. So I don't know what I would cut her for yet. Probably that second Tiger King I was talking about, but I'm still running her for now, I guess, for the purposes of just keeping it as much Fire Fisty as I can. And Fire Fisty is even an adjective, but so yeah, 1 Peacock and then 2 Eagle, because I don't want to run 3 too cloggy, but Eagle's too important to have at 1 and have to have him die to some dumb shit and then have to use your recycling capabilities to get him back. So you definitely need to. He's your Foolish Burial for your monsters. He can reset stuff back to your hand, and he makes you not have to use cost. There's like really amazing, and the best part about him is he is 2 Beast Warriors. He is not 2 Fire Fist monsters, so you can use 2 Zoodiacs for him, or a Zoodiac and a Fire Fist, which just makes him all that much more easy to summon. Your last link, because this is going second and sometimes your Fire Fists aren't enough, is going to be your Boral Sword. Because this is intended to go and attack, like not necessarily OTK, but I guess yeah, it is OTK. I wouldn't do, you know, Boral Load or any of the others. It has to be Boral Sword because he's the only one who facilitates that attack. Then to round off our extra deck, we still run 1 Horse Prince. I think I mentioned Vulcan the Divine earlier as a synchro I used to run back in the day, but I don't really go into synchros much. Only reason I run Horse Prince is because he can help with the link plays sometimes. If I open the level 3s, I could just make Horse Prince, get out a Rooster or something, search or even just a Raven to set something additional, link them away for a Cardinal, still have a second normal summon, and just try to go off from there. Plus, Horse Prince is 2200, so with some of your spells in the Tensin, he can actually become a little bit strong, so he's nice to have just because. And then, of course, lastly is our new guy, which is the Swan, who I ran in the last profile. I think I was running 2, and if I was, it's pretty dumb in hindsight, but just the 1, he's also really good. Like, he has that little effect to destroy things in the battle phase, and also being 2600. Again, only at 1 because we can recycle a lot of stuff, and he's not somebody you really need to go off on to win. Only reason I like him is because sometimes he is really easy to make in terms of, like, I don't have the best play and I don't want to overextend. I want to save a couple things in my hand, but I just really need to get over this monster. He's nice to just make to get a little, sometimes like a little bit of a double pop off if they don't have the right board set up. So just the 1 Swan, and haven't really found room for anything else yet. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bear with me as we continue to try to make Fire Fist better and better every day. If you have any suggestions in the comment section below, we are always open to it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check out our social medias. If you want to build Fire Fist, check out the TCG affiliate link below. You'll be able to find anything you need that we showcased on the profile. Let us know if you guys want to see test hands of these videos. We've been trying to do those for a lot more of our decks, and we'll be happy to give it to you guys. Also, tell us what your favorite Fire Fist monster is and why. Later.